How's it going, guys? Cody back again, dropping yet another video. Right, guys, I've been able to get this story out thanks to a prison source, shall we say, at HMP Altcourse, which is a G4S run prison in Fatalities in Liverpool. Now, the death actually took place 2 weeks today, but it's better late than never. The prisoner had underlying health problems. He was 74 years old. I don't know if it was a general population prisoner or a VP, vulnerable prisoner, sex offender, protection case, rapist, I don't know. But we've been able to get this death out. So thank you to the individual that got me this story. Like I said, 2 weeks is, I'd rather have it 2 weeks later than not at all. We still get to get the prison death out there. The death is COVID-19 related. I'm going to read the story, guys. I'm going to do my bit at the end. Before I start, this is also a mention for Gary Nielsen. Gary Nielsen also died as well a few weeks ago. I believe that Gary Nielsen, I'm not 100%, but I'm told by a journalist that they think that he was in for paedophilic images. But like I said, my thoughts and prayers still go out to Gary Nielsen's friends and family at this sad and tragic time. And my thoughts also go out to Sean Tierney's friends and family at this sad and tragic time. I'm going to read the story, guys. I'm going to do my bit at the end. Yeah, let's do it. So this is a story in the Liverpool Echo, guys. Link in the description below, like you always do. Headline reads, "Second prisoner dies with coronavirus in Liverpool jail." The Altcourse inmate, 74, was already seriously ill before he contracted COVID-19. Another prisoner serving time of one of Liverpool's jails has died with coronavirus, making him the second known fatality in Merseyside custody linked to the disease. The inmate locked up at HMP Altcourse was transferred from Fatalities to Aintree Hospital over a fortnight ago, when his health deteriorated and he was placed in an isolation on a ward. 2 days later, the 74-year-old was diagnosed with COVID-19 and he died 48 hours after that. The fatality, which took place on April the 7th, although 13 days ago, was confirmed today by security company G4S, who run Altcourse. The pensioner already had health issues prior to contracting coronavirus, and his death was expected, it is understood. It follows the death also at the start of the month of another Altcourse inmate, 57, this is Gary Nielsen, who died with COVID-19 while suffering with terminal cancer. He was escorted from the prison to Woodlands Hospice on the grounds of Aintree Hospital 10 days before he passed away. Today, the men were named locally, the younger man as Gary Nielsen, 57, and the older as Sean Tierney. All deaths in custody are investigated by the Prison and Probation Ombudsman, but that office's work is changing temporarily due to the lockdown, so the probe might be delayed. John Whitwam, Managing Director for G4S Custodial and Detention Services, said, "A prisoner from HMP Altcourse passed away at Aintree Hospital on the 7th of April 2020. The Prison and Probation Ombudsman has been informed, as well as his next of kin, and his friends and family remain in our thoughts at this difficult time. It is the latest update provided by the Ministry of Justice. As of Thursday evening, 255 prisoners have tested positive for COVID-19 across 62 government-run prisons in England and Wales. A total of 138 prison staff have tested positive across 49 prisons. 7 prison escort and custody services staff have also tested positive. On Saturday, a programme to free prisoners early to help jails cope with the coronavirus was paused after 6 inmates were released by mistake. The low-risk offenders were candidates for early release, but were let out too soon after an administrative error," the Ministry of Justice said. "After the flaw was spotted, they all returned compliantly to prison," a spokeswoman said. "The government early release scheme designed to avoid thousands of often cell-sharing inmates becoming infected is due to resume soon. Up to 4,000 prisoners in England and Wales were to be temporarily released from jail in an effort to control the spread of the virus. Lawyers acting for the Howard League for Penal Reform and the Prison Reform Trust wrote to Robert Buckland with details of a proposed application for a judicial review, should urgent action not be taken to address their concerns raised. Separately, campaigning group, the Prisoners Advice Service, or PASS, has threatened legal action against the government unless vulnerable and elderly prisoners are immediately released to protect them from contracting COVID-19. Whew. Now, like I said, I don't know what Sean Tierney was in prison for. I don't know what Gary Nielsen was in prison for. I'm told that Gary Nielsen was suspected to be paedophilic images or child abuse images. I don't know if that's true or not. And I don't know why Sean Tierney was in prison. But my thoughts and my prayers go out to their friends and their family, because they're not guilty of anything. And like I said, if it's a general population thing, then 100%, God bless them, may they rest in peace. But I'm sorry, I cannot shed a tear and do not care if a sex offender dies in prison. I just don't, right? And that sounds heartless, and that's nothing against, well, I can't say it's against nothing. I've just, due to what happened to me when I was younger, I despise them. So I stick to that. But like I said, my thoughts and prayers go out to Gary Nielsen's friends and family. My thoughts go out to Sean Tierney's friends and family at this sad and tragic time. No prisoner, there's no worse place, than to leave this earth than in a prison cell, away from your friends, away from your family. They might have not had a visit for weeks or months or whatever the case may be. It's the second death at Altcourse. Guys, just let me just tell you something. I'm sick of doing this. You know what I keep, right, and the statistics as well as of Thursday, that's not true. It's been updated and stuff, and there's nearly 300 prisoners tested positive and stuff like that, right? But with this story, right, in the media wrongly reporting there's been 12 deaths in prison, right? No, there hasn't, right? There was 12 deaths as of a few days ago. Now these two have been confirmed. That's another two. And Angela Burkett, who was a murderer, stabbed a woman to death in revenge in somewhere in Yorkshire. She died at Newhall Prison. So that's 12 plus 3, 15. But the true number of prison deaths due to COVID-19 is not, it's not out there. They're the ones that we know of, right? And like I said, with these deaths, guys, these prisons have got Twitter accounts. Altcourse actually hasn't. But when there's a death in custody, once they've informed the family, why don't they just put it out and say, we've sadly and tragically had a death in our prison? They're not going to do that, are they, guys? Right? The Ministry of Justice have confirmed to journalists that during this COVID-19 prison lockdown, they will not be confirming anything reference COVID-19 as it will cause panic and unrest in our prisons. The reason that this has been confirmed is because we've got the names of the prisoners and stuff and the circumstances of how they've died. That's how we've got this story out. Private prisons are a lot more open, not fully, but they're a little bit more open, the Ministry of Justice. The Ministry of Justice, because obviously you've got public sector, you've got private sector. But yeah, we've been able to get this death out. So there's 15 deaths that we know of, right? But the true number, these journalists have said to me, look, the MOJ Cody have told us that they're not playing ball. You see, when you see these 300 confirmed cases of COVID-19 in our prisons, that's just been reported. The Ministry of Justice, you will not read, and I'll tell you this now for a fact, you will not read that the Ministry of Justice have confirmed that there is this amount, because the Ministry of Justice have gone, because over 7,000 staff are off. I think it's closer to 8,000 prison staff are off across all sectors. And the last thing they want is for prison riots to take place. Frustration is becoming anger within our prisons, and there's pockets of disorder, but it's a controlled unlock, and these prisons have battened down the hatches. The Ministry of Justice have battened down the hatches. Prison officers and their prison accounts. You've got prisons with prison accounts, guys, and they're posting these TikTok videos. Prisoners' families are desperately tweeting them. What's happening? Can you give us an update? Is my son all right? Is my father all right? I've got an elderly relative. He's got underlying health problems. He's got respiratory problems. He's in your prison. Can you tell me? Are they okay? Are the prisoners okay? They're not tweeting anything. Then they're tweeting fucking TikTok videos. Then they're tweeting letters purporting to be from prisoners, which I'm not having it, saying, oh yeah, thank you, you're so looking after us, we're so grateful, we're all working hand in hand. What a load of shite. What a crock of shit. And do you know what, guys? I've been thinking the last like 24 hours. I've ran my brain. I was talking to a journalist today from the Echo, the guy who wrote this story, Luke Trainer. I was talking to Luke, and I was saying to Luke, I said, I started to reel off names of prison deaths I got out of one prison that I got out, that's Walton, right? And I was reeling off names, and I thought, fucking hell, like Damien Anderson, Ian Galtras, Anthony Payne, Carl Newman, Damien Anderson, right? And I was listening, and I was sat there and I thought, I was like, actually thinking about how many deaths I got out of one prison. I have broken so many. I am literally like Mr. Prison Suicide, Mr. Prison Death. I don't want to be. I don't like that. But the sheer amount of deaths, murders. I've got out a murder. Stephen O'Donnell, God bless his soul, was murdered by Idris A. Gray on D Wing at HMP Risley in February of last year. Right, I got that story out. Wayne Hurren, God bless his soul, slit his own throat in a cell on the Wands, Wormwood Scrubs. I've got out stupid amounts of deaths, murders, deaths. Medical negligence deaths. Michael Quinn Sr., God bless his soul, was having a heart attack at HMP Berwyn. Begged the night clocky, get me medical care, I'm having an heart attack. Left him. He died in his cell. His pad mate woke up for a piss, tripped over his dead body. This is what's going on, guys, within prison. Alan Marshall in Scotland was murdered by prison officers, right? This is what's going on within our prisons. Our prisons are fucked, guys. And I don't like breaking prison deaths. I get no satisfaction by being Johnny on the spot and getting stories out because of my prison contacts. I'm nobody. Understand? I'm nobody. But through my prison contacts and the fact the fact that people see that I'm a genuine kid and what I'm trying to do, they reach out to me. And a prisoner that I'd never spoken to got me this story. Like I said, so I'm grateful for this. And people are actually trying to see, and like, you know what, bro? You don't get paid. You put a lot of time and effort into doing what you're doing, right? You give your time to people away from YouTube and stuff. I network, I bring bereaved families together. I do video tributes for for prisoners that have died, for their families and their friends. Someone rings me up, I need 10 minutes of your time, Cody. I'm on the 4 or 5 hours later. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm about. I don't get paid for this. I don't need to do this. Like I said, I could just go back to the thing and let prisoners die and not do anything. But I won't let that happen, man. Like I said, when a prison, why do I want to get a prison death out? The reason is because I know that the Ministry of Justice would gladly let a prisoner die. Let me tell you, when a prisoner dies in custody, the prison doesn't run to the family, tell the family, and then run to the newspaper and do a press release. It doesn't happen. They tell the family, and then they just hope that the family don't go to the paper. If you've got a loved one and he dies in prison, or she dies in prison, we've got female offenders, go to the paper. Another thing as well, what I want to address, right, it's been reported in the media that 12 prisoners have died from COVID. Like I've alluded to, there's at least 15. Angela Burkett, check her out. Sean Tierney and Gary Nielsen. Right, that's up to 15. They're the ones that we know of. And I've got a couple of these deaths out as well. So that's 15 that we know of. Then the ones that we don't know of. Let me tell you guys, there's 119 or 120 prisons in England and Wales, right? From secure training centres or STCs to young offenders institutes to female prisons to male prisons, right? 119, give or take, right, in England and Wales, right? We are being force-fed that there has only been 12 deaths. I'm not being funny. We've had 2 at one prison. We've had 3 or 4 at Lachey. Lachey is 100% sex offenders prison, 100% sex offenders population. That's in Lachey in Cambridgeshire at Lachey prison. We've had 2 at Altcourse, right? So there's 5 deaths. So there's 5 or 6 deaths just there. But there's 119 prisons, but we're being led to believe that there's only been 12 deaths when you've had 5 or 6 between Lachey and Altcourse. Do you understand what I'm saying? So like I said, the true number is not the true number. It's just the ones that we know of. Prisoners are dropping like flies at the moment, guys. And the death rate within prisons is always high. But it's increasing. It's going to be off the scale this year. Prison authorities, like I said, they defer deaths and stuff, so they put it back so it goes on the next year or the next quarter. This is what goes on, guys. They manipulate the figures and the numbers. If a prisoner dies in hospital, they'll try to say, well, it wasn't a prison death because he didn't die in hospital. He didn't die in prison. He died in hospital. That's how this is what goes on. They'll say, well, actually, it wasn't a death in custody because he actually died in a hospital. You understand what I'm saying? This is how they manipulate the figures, guys. But I won't let them. I will continue to do what I do. I don't get a penny for this. I get great satisfaction. I love it. I've come into contact through this channel, through some fucking amazing people. Amazing people. Come across some dickheads as well. But some fantastic, amazing people. And like I said, people are seeing that I'm a genuine kid and they're seeing what I'm trying to do, right? Prisoners' families, because there's COVID-19 stuff, prisoners' families that don't do Twitter are setting up Twitter accounts and actively tweeting on prison and begging the Justice Secretary, and who's the Robert Buckland QC, begging the Prisons Minister Lucy Fraser, begging the Shadow Justice Secretary David Lammy, who supports black and ethnic minority backgrounds, right? And I like his work. Joe Farrer, the CEO of Her Majesty's Prison and Probation Service. This is what's going on, guys, within our prisons and stuff. And like I said, they're jumping on it now because they're shit scared, and rightly so, of COVID-19 and their loved ones in prisons and underlying health problems. 15% of the prison population have got respiratory problems. 1,700 prisoners are over the age of 70. Prison healthcare being absolutely shocking and appalling, mental health services inadequate, severely mentally ill prisoners within the system that are being left to rot 23 and a half hours a day, medication, having to beg for toilet roll, toilet paper, water if you've not got a kettle in the cell. When you go to your tap in your cell and you press the thing, I don't class it as drinking water, me. I literally used to boil it like in Forest Bank. When I was in Strangeways, I had a kettle in my cell and a proper sink at Forest Bank. The water was always warm. It was all fucking never tasted right, so I wouldn't drink it. But at Forest Bank, you've got a hot water tower on the wing. Prisoners begging for medication, to go out for exercise, to get on the phone if you haven't got in-cell telephones, begging to see a doctor or a nurse, suffering behind a door, going through the mire mentally and stuff like that. Prisoners on act books. And whilst these prisoners are wanting all these things and begging for these things and worried and want to speak to their family and their friends and stuff like that, and they've lost their visits and they've lost a 1 hour visit a week and they're being given £5 phone credit. How is that supposed to fucking replace a 1 hour visit a week? Oh yes, they've reduced the calls. Wow, fucking whoopee do. Why couldn't you have done this in the past? Lord Farmer states that prisoners that receive visits whilst in prison are 39% less likely to reoffend, but only during a COVID-19 prison lockdown, only then did they drop the price of the calls, right? Why couldn't they do that back then? Why couldn't they do it in the past to encourage family ties? Because prisons are business, guys. It's all about the cha-ching, and that goes for public, obviously mainly private prisons that are businesses, but public sector prisons are earning money as well through revenue. It goes down that way. Anyway, guys, I'm going to stop rambling on. Thoughts and prayers go out to the Sean T and his friends and family at this sad and tragic time. Thoughts and prayers go out to Gary Nielsen's friends and family at this sad and tragic time. The next prison death is not very far away. Sorry to be so open and honest about this. And like I said, there are going to be prisoners that are going to continue to die from this COVID-19 that are going to be swept under the rug, and they might not have had a visit for weeks or months, guys, because of this COVID stuff, or they live hundreds of miles away from where the family are based, and the family can't afford to go and see them every week or every month. So it goes down that way. Sorry, guys, I'm on a rant because I'm tired. The time is literally 4:45 a.m. Tuesday. Right, guys, going to leave it there. Let me know what you think about the video. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you, everyone, for your likes, your comments, your subscriptions. Cody out.